Okay, in our final installment for Server 2012, we're going to create a new user, go to our second box and log on as that user. Remember that by default, Active Directory using computers, 1, computers must be authenticated against the domain, and 2, when you go to log on, you are logging on with a domain user account, not a standard user account. So basically we need to set up some users here, and I'm going to set up a standard user and then try and log on to the other server. So when I go to let's go back here, Tools, Active Directory using computers, come down to Users, basically I'm going to create a new user, and I'm going to call this one Brendan, and hit the right buttons, and user logon name Brendan at train.local. I'm going to put in a password, PA$W0RD being the standard one. I'm going to turn off user must change password next log on. I'm going to put in the password never expires, purely for this sample. Generally, you would force the user to change his password next log on. You get a prompt when he goes to log on. Next on that, and finish on that. And maybe we'll just do another one with the password change request. So I'm going to call this one Joe Blogs. Joe Blogs, logon name Joe at train.local. I'm going to put in standard password for now. And I'm going to leave it user must change password next log on. Next on that, finish on that. So I can see now I've got my Brendan McKeown account, standard user, and I've got my Joe Blogs, standard user. I'm now going to head over to my second machine, so 2, and I'm going to log off this machine and log back on, or attempt to log back on as the 2 users. So Control Alt Delete, other user, and again training/Brendan, password the usual password, and enter. Creates a new profile for the user, and when that loads up, we should be able to check. Now, for example, if I go to Server Manager, in fact, no, first of all, we go to my computer, and in my computer, we go to Computer, Map a Network Drive, and I map to //srv1_2012/share1, which is the share we had earlier on. I'm going to finish that, and there's my new text document, and I can of course go and create a new text document because again everyone had change access. Okay. However, if I come along here and I look, I've got notifications, automatic refresh failed, etc. This sometimes can be as a result of the user account. So I'm going to try if I can install a role here. I'm going to put in let's see, print and document services. Add a feature. Next on that. Next on that. Next on that. Print server as a central print controller as such, and I can go off and do what I want here itself. Now, just as an example of that, if I come back to server 1, which is my domain controller, and I log off that, sign out, and I go to sign in as a different user, other user, training, Brendan, and my password, sign in, I get an error. The sign-in method you're trying to use isn't allowed. What that basically means is a standard user is not allowed to log on to a domain controller. You have to have admin rights. Admin rights, server manager rights, backup operator rights, etc. But standard user wouldn't have permission. You can also see here in the feature installation, you do not have adequate user rights to make changes to the target computer. So again, this is because Brendan is just a standard user, but all we wanted to prove was we could log on with that account. And the other account we had input, Control-Alt-Delete, other user, and in this case training/Joe, password, and this time we should get a message up telling us that we must change the password. It must be changed before signing in. Okay, and again we put in a new password, and I'm just putting a hash at the end of it, and that should allow me to sign in once I make sure that they actually match. So the old password, $W0RD, the new password, $W0RD hash, and confirm the new one, $W0RD hash, and sign in. And of course, the fact that I got those messages coming up about rights and changing passwords does prove to me that I am using Active Directory and everything's being controlled through my first server, my domain controller. So in these videos, we've installed Server 2012, we've installed Active Directory and configured it, we've installed DHCP and configured it, we've added the computer to the domain, and we've also added some users and attempted logging in. We've also then done a map network drive and tested out our IP connectivity as such. Okay.